Pokopia is one of the most addicting games that I've played, but also it's one of the most overwhelming. So in this video, I'm compiling some early game tips to help you get started, and we're gonna separate them into categories so I can make this easier for you. Hello, gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. If you love videos like this and you want more Pokopia content, make sure to squish the like button, and let's start with the first category. And this one is going to be about beginner progression tips. Now, this is where I want to get tip number one out of the way, which arguably it is so crucial in a game like this, and many of us are gonna fall into this just like we did with Animal Crossing back in 2020. I'm gonna say play this game slowly at your own pace and don't feel pressured into progressing quickly and burning out. Now, you can play this game however you want. If you want to rush and burn yourself out, that is fine, but if you tend to get overwhelmed with games quickly and you're gonna be seeing a lot of people already putting out lots of incredible builds, don't let that stress you out. This game has so much to offer, from materials, furniture, decor, Pokemon to unlock, areas to visit, collectibles to find, and more. So you might feel pressured to start time traveling to quickly burn through the content. There's no wrong or right way of playing this, but I just don't want you to burn out on it, and I can see this happening very easily. Now that I got that out of the way, I can just, with a peace of mind, continue on and tell you about all the other tips. Now, when you start, you have this selection of hairstyles and clothes to choose from. And don't worry, you can change your clothes at any time when you get a mirror. You're gonna also find some new hairstyles as well as other outfits as you progress through the game. The only thing that I believe you cannot change is your name. When playing, focus on the bubbles that pop up on top of Pokemon, as these will progress the story. And the yellow or golden ones are the most crucial to progress to new areas and unlock new abilities. When it comes to Pokemon quests, keep in mind that some of their personal requests will have a time limit. Also, as you play, you're gonna find a specific building away from the main area. You might tend to forget to contribute into progressing it, so just a little reminder, do go back to it and progress it. And continuing from progressing the main story, this is also how you unlock gates so you can explore other areas. Now, if you forget what quests you've picked up, you can check them in your phone by clicking on requests, and you're gonna see that every area is going to have its own page. So you can switch between them using the L and R buttons on your controller. And in general, if you ever feel lost or you're not sure what to do next, focus on the requests, as the next objective is probably gonna be there. And you can always ask a Pokemon again for clarification if you aren't sure what to do next, or even check in with Tangrowth because it will tell you what to do as well. Now, your house is gonna be unlocked by playing through the main story, and you can choose to either use a kit to build a pre-made home, or you can then build your own home yourself using various materials that you find in the game. As long as you have 3 furniture inside it, then it is good to go. And you can have Pokemon move in with you, and when you place a flag on your home, you can then use it as a fast travel point so you can quickly get back if you get lost, because you might get lost a lot, especially in some of the caves. Once you get to the PC that is next to the Pokemon Center, you're gonna unlock the shop. Here are some things that I think you should prioritize buying first. Focus on getting the PP up to permanently increase your stamina. Of all the names that they could have chosen, why did they choose PP? Someone, why? Anyways, also get the packing tips rookie. This is gonna give you extra inventory space, which you are going to need. Also, this handy bag is excellent for using as an extra inventory slot, which is gonna make building a lot easier. We'll talk about it more in a bit. This tripod is really good so you can take photos other than just using selfie mode. Also, pick up the items that say recipe on them, as they usually give you several recipe items. And I would suggest getting this community box recipe, which you can place down, and then Pokemon can put items in it that they have gathered for you. There are also these 2 kits that you can get, one for demolition and one for relocating, in case you want to change where you put down a pre-made house kit. These mysterious goggles let you visit your friend's islands, and you can visit this island that the devs have already made. Here is the code for it. It's PXQCG0RS. Keep in mind that you need a Nintendo Online membership to access this, which is a paid feature. To leave the island, go to the PC by the island's Pokemon Center, and it will ask you if you want to leave by pressing the A button. Back on your island, this security camera is also gonna come in handy. You can set it up in a habitat in which you're waiting for a Pokemon to appear. It offers you a 360-degree view, so you can turn it around. You can also zoom in and out and take pictures. Now, once you've set it up and if you're away from it, you can access it by using your phone, clicking on the camera menu, then security cameras, and you can set multiples to switch between. In terms of habitats, you can find these buy hints from the PC shop. But you can also save your coins and look up online how a habitat is made if you want to. Or you can also discover these hints naturally as you play the game. So I wouldn't say these are must-buy hints if you don't mind either looking them up online or you finding them by naturally progressing through the game. When playing, you're gonna realize that many of the things you buy or craft require lumber, so make sure you start giving Scyther logs early on so he can turn them into lumber for you. This process takes real lifetime, it's not instantaneous, so it's good to get a head start. Let's go back to the PC real quick. Some of the items available for sale are for today only. These are found in this section of the shop tab on the very top. The rest of the items after this row are going to be available all the time. And I would say if you want to unlock lots of stuff quickly, do focus a little bit on increasing the environment for your Pokemon so you can get more of these in the shop. On the PC, you're also going to find challenges. Some spawn daily, which are in this first row again, and then the rest are always available for you to complete. Now, if you've completed several of them, you don't have to claim them one by one. You can simply press Y to report all. I would also suggest turning on the notification for these challenges. That way, when you're playing and you're naturally fulfilling some of them, the game will show you a notification of your progress so far. You can toggle notifications on by clicking the plus button on your controller inside the challenges menu. By the way, remember when we talked about the handy bag? You're gonna notice that when you have it toggled on, you can't change between your abilities anymore. What you need to do is pull up your abilities wheel by pressing L and switching between them. The handy bag can be activated once you buy it from your inventory by pressing down on the right Joy-Con stick. And if you don't want to use it anymore, you can deactivate it by going to your inventory screen again, pressing down on the right Joy-Con stick, and it will ask you if you want to get rid of it, and voila. You're not gonna lose the items that's inside of it, but you won't have to see it on your screen anymore, and once it's not on your screen, you can go back to switching between your abilities using the D-pad. Also, thanks to our lovely mod Sunday, I learned that carrots give you a lot more PP than berries do. Again, this whole PP thing... Why? These carrots are found on the ground. You can pull them out by pulling these leaves off the floor. Sometimes you're gonna get a leaf, other times you're gonna get a carrot. The next category that we're gonna tackle is exploration and time travel, because I see a lot of questions about that. So, when traveling, one important thing to note, especially if you have motion sickness like I do, is go to the settings on your phone, press R, and go to the camera tab. Then change the camera to far. By default, it's set to close, if I'm not mistaken, but I want to note that it will still come close to you when you are in tight spaces. Otherwise, when you're out in the open and you're not in a claustrophobic space, this setting will be a game changer for you. The Pokeballs are crucial to find, so you can earn recipes and items and rare materials. So far, I could see that the red ones seem to carry items, whereas the golden ones will either have recipes or rare materials inside them. Literally, look everywhere because some are in plain sight, whereas others are hidden inside caves or ruins. I also noticed that some relics and Pokeballs spawn randomly in areas that I've already cleared, so taking a look around different areas when you log in at another day is probably a really good idea. Now, these sparkles that you see on the floor are for Pokemon habitat hints, but they can also be materials. And by the way, Pokemon with the litter trait will leave you materials near their home. Sometimes when you're out and about, you're gonna hear the sound of something majestic flying by. If you look up, you are gonna see something majestic flying by, and then you're gonna see a tornado appear. If you go to it and you cut it, you're gonna find these feathers. So far, I'm not sure what they do, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna be important. Otherwise, I don't see why they would be appearing. And one thing that I've learned learned from games like Dragon Quest Builders, for example, literally hoard everything because you're gonna have a tough time later on if you don't. I'm literally a loot goblin. If you were in the stream, you would have seen me literally trying to loot entire buildings. I'm not talking about just what's inside the building. No, I was the whole foundation. I was taking all of that and putting it in my pocket. And speaking of that stream, we found Drifloon. This Drifloon story is new to me. Oh my goodness, is it morbid and dark? If you know, you know. But anyways, when you build it a home or a habitat, it will begin accepting dolls from you. These are obtained by exploring the world. So far, I've found Eevee and Pikachu. Every day, you can use one doll, and the Drifloon will take you to an island with specific materials around. You'll also be able to find valuable materials that you might have not seen before, including more berry trees, flowers, bushes, recipes, or even these stardust that we're gonna talk about later. You can use one doll type per day to visit an island multiple times, but if you want to try another doll type, you're gonna have to wait till the next day or time travel. When it comes to new flowers, bushes, and trees, you're gonna find that you can take them back home. Some you can use rototiller on. So for example, flowers, thanks again to our lovely mod Sunday, we can pick up the flower as is and just take it back home. However, you can also use the cut ability and you will get seeds instead. Trees, on the other hand, need to be cut down and then you can get their seeds. So far, I haven't found a way of picking up an entire tree like we can in Animal Crossing New Horizons, for example. Speaking of time travel, I've time traveled to the future and there doesn't seem to be any penalties, so looks like we're safe to do that if that's what you want to do. Mind you, I'm not gonna time travel anymore. I only did that because we were playing on stream and we wanted to see what the Pokemon Center is gonna look like for this video, but otherwise I'm not gonna be using that feature. I love being able to log in every day and play the game slowly at my own pace, but in case you're interested in doing that, you can do so safely and no judgment here. I do not judge if you want to time travel, not time travel. It's your game, play however you want. By the way, you can sprint if you haven't noticed that yet, and you do so by holding down the B on your controller. In the settings, you can switch between the jump button and the sprint button. So that way you can sprint using the L button and then jump by pressing B. Also, when exploring, you can climb these vines even if they're not watered. For some reason, myself and chat thought that maybe we need to water them, otherwise they're gonna wither and we won't be able to climb them. No, you can just climb them regardless. And one crucial early game tip is start watering around your base, especially where the Pokemon Center is, right off the bat. Without spoiling the story for you, at one point, you're gonna need to have watered quite a lot of the dry areas. And if I started doing this early, I would not have had to spend about 1 hour and 30 minutes in stream yesterday to water everything. The process was satisfying, don't get me wrong, it felt like playing Power Wash Sim, but still, you can avoid this whole thing if you start doing this naturally from the beginning. After that, there is a specific point in the game where you don't have to worry about this anymore, but yeah, I don't want to spoil things for you, you'll find out for yourself. And also, if you see these sweaty rocks, make sure to smash them because you will get a water flow. Sometimes you're gonna see these sparkles that appear on water surfaces. You can press A to inspect it and then rapidly press A to get different items. And with that said, today I logged in and I got a prompt first thing that told me that I'm gonna be finding a lot more sparkles around the world. So I think some days are gonna be considered a lucky day where you're gonna find more items spawning. Once you unlock the gates that we talked about earlier, start going to the new areas because you're gonna unlock so many more items. So if you start working on the first area right off the bat, you're gonna miss out on lots of other materials that you can make use of. Plus, you're also going to find lots of other Pokemon in the other areas as well. Another easily missable feature is the dowsing machine. You unlock it pretty early on in the game, but if you're like me, I was playing for about 12 hours and I completely forgot about it. So make sure to use it. And an extra tip about this is you can use the dowsing machine and bring it along to a dream island so you use it there. All you gotta do is bring the machine as well as one of the Pokemon who have the search ability to follow you and you're good to go. You're gonna be finding these hidden items easily. Another thing you'll come across when you're exploring are these relics. You can find them in the world and they can be appraised by Tangrowth. If you're running low on space, which is gonna happen a lot, remember that these relics can stack if they are of the same type. So you can stack them up until you have more storage, and then you can go back to Tangrowth and ask it to appraise them. Another big part of this game is the Pokemon that you're gonna meet, so I've got some tips and tricks about them. You already know about the habitats, right? The hints and that Pokemon are going to give you different abilities. One thing to note is, if you decide to keep a Pokemon in its habitat, rather than move it to a house, you will need to build another similar habitat when the Pokédex shows you that this habitat can spawn different Pokemon. However, if you move a Pokemon to a new house, and this habitat can spawn other Pokemon, this habitat will not be considered occupied anymore, so you don't need to build a duplicate, and now another Pokemon can spawn. Of course, different Pokemon have different rarities, and some require specific time of day and weather conditions to spawn, but hopefully this tip can spare you on making so many duplicates of the habitats, especially if you're already moving in your Pokemon to houses. When you see Pokemon talking together, you sometimes see this, I think it was called like "what's it about" prompt pop up, and this is a neat little feature where you can see what they're talking about or even arguing about. And if you're playing, you already probably noticed that Pokemon will want your attention a lot. Sometimes they're gonna give you gifts, other times they just want to share their gratitude for you, and in some cases they want to let you know that you are their BFF, so they're gonna start using your name rather than calling you Ditto. You're also gonna see that some of them want to play a game with you, and if you win, you'll be rewarded for it, or they might have a request for you. Do give them some attention, as this will work out in your favor, especially when it comes to fulfilling their comfort requests, because this is gonna increase the environment's level overall, meaning you're gonna get more items to buy from your PC. A few beginner noteworthy Pokemon are Vespiquen. I am new to Pokemon, so I'm probably butchering everyone's names, but this Pokemon will take honey from you. And honey can be obtained by unlocking Combi, which you can get very early on in the game. For every 3 honey, Vespiquen will give you an item. You can choose which item you want from a selection, and in one day, you can redeem up to 3 items from her, so that means she can take a total of 9 honey per day. Another noteworthy Pokemon to get is Gulpin, since it gives you extra storage. You can give Gulpin some stuff to keep on it while you two are apart, or you can do what I do and have it follow you so you can hoard so much more items, because Gulpin acts as extra storage. But I will say, when it comes to this, there's one thing you need to remember: Pokemon will get stuck if there is no clear path for them to follow you. When that happens, you'll need to find them again and ask them to follow you, otherwise they might just be stuck. I say that because my Gulpin got trapped in the beach area and I fast traveled back to my, what was it called, Withering Wastelands. Yeah, Gulpin is not there with me. The poor guy is just stuck in the other area. By the way, with this game, when you complete a Pokemon's request, it's not going to automatically be completed. You need to go back to the Pokemon to hand the request in. I cannot tell you how many times I forgot to do that, thinking that, yeah, the request magically just solved itself. No, you need to go back and talk to the Pokemon. Also, in this Pokemon category, we already have an event confirmed, which is going to start from March 9th till March 24th. And it seems like we're gonna meet 3 new Pokemon that we can also invite to our islands. So we can safely assume that more events like this will happen, meaning you can unlock even more Pokemon to bring to your islands. And I also have one more way for you to bring a Pokemon if you've seen it like at a friend's island and you're like, oh my god, I really want this Pokemon. So this is for you. In Dream Islands, you're gonna find these Stardust that are on the floor. Make sure to pick them up, because when you have 99 of them, you can craft a star piece. You can use these as gifts when you meet a Pokemon that another player has, but you don't. So you give them this gift, and based on the game's tutorial, seems like they can give you a gift back, and if you open it in a vacant home, that Pokemon will be prompted to move in. And I believe that that Pokemon will not leave your friend's island. You can both have that same Pokemon, so don't worry about thinking like, oh my god, my friend is gonna steal my Pokemon. It doesn't look like that's the case. I also want to give you a few quality of life features similar to the one that I gave about the camera. There's a couple more. For example, when you set your crafting bench, you can place 4 storage chests around it, and that will allow you to pull materials right from the chest, so you don't have to have the materials in your pocket. Here's a picture from the Reddit user, the barbecue cheese, I love that name, and this is how they set their chest to make it touch the bench, and I think this is genius. Okay, while we're talking about chests, I also just saw Fleur post on Twitter this. It says Pokopia PSA signs on chests, and yes, they are are stackable. So if you want some help with organizing your chests, you can stack them up and then you can use these frames. That way it's easier for you to tell what is inside every chest. And while Future Miss Bubbles is here, I also saw Dan's Gaming on Twitter say any Pokemon that has the engineer trait lowers building time to 1 hour instead of overnight, even Pokecenter repairs. So these two tips are incredible and I just learned about them now. I'm in awe of the Pokopia community and how many things they are finding out on a daily basis. And with that, I would say prioritize finding 30 Pokemon ASAP. This is how you learn the recipe for the large storage chest, which is gonna let you store 60 items inside. If you are struggling like I am in the beginning of the game with storage, this is a lifesaver. And when you start playing, you are going to be climbing every block one by one, which is really annoying, but don't worry. Once you find Magikarp and you fulfill its request, it's pretty early on in the story, you will be able to jump. So if you've seen other people jumping, this is how you get it. When you're building, you can press ZL on your controller, and then you can use the D-pad to change the orientation and the height of any item. This makes placing things down a lot easier. And while talking about building, I am not the biggest fan of the mouse controls because I feel like the Joy-Cons are just way too small for me. But I tried smashing rocks by using mouse controls, and yeah, I can confirm smashing rocks and putting things down is a lot faster that way. I also have a couple of tips, more so like answers to questions that I see frequently asked, and you might just be hitting your head through the wall because you don't know what the answer is. So this is a bit spoilery, so if you don't want spoilers, just, proceed with caution. But in terms of evolutions, so far it doesn't look like you can evolve a Pokemon. However, you can still find a Pokemon's evolutions as independent. So every Pokemon acts as a independent Pokemon. So yeah, you're not going to be evolving your Pokemon, but you can find different versions of the Pokemon's evolutions. And this leads me to duplicating Pokemon. There is no duplicates as far as we know, which also means that there is no shiny hunting at the time of this recording. But who knows, maybe it's a planned feature later on, but I think it's a little bit dark, kicking out a Pokemon who's living on your island because you found a shiny one. Wouldn't it? I think that would be cruel. Let me know if you have other tips and tricks that you can share with us. I would love to know. And if you want to know about my opinion about the game in general, I already have a before you buy up that you can watch next. Thank you to my YouTube and Patreon bubblies who make videos like this possible. And a shout out goes to The Game Dimension, Jake Logan, Stella, Emmy, Grey Wolf, Charming Kara, and Fufe for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.